Hello plant community, thanks for tuning into this channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Pam, and for those of you that keep coming back, I appreciate each and every last one of you. So alright, let's just jump right into it. You guys, from the thumbnail, you already should know what I'm about to talk about. And I'm just picking out a few plants in my collection that I feel that a lot of people are not talking about, and I just wanted to shine a spotlight on them. It's not to say, okay, these plants are all beautiful in its own rights, and I'm not saying that people are possibly not buying them. It's just that you may not hear too much being said about them, and so that's what it's about, just bringing those plants that's common that people are not talking about to the forefront. Now, for the most part, you guys, what's the common plants that you always hear people talking about? Usually some form of a variegated philodendron, of course Hoyas, Marantas, let's see, what else? And then the Monstera varieties, we are all talking about them non-stop. And they are worthy to be talked about because there are some beautiful specimens there. But let's just jump right into the plants that I feel that people aren't talking about, but it is part of my collection, and in no particular order. Now, I do happen to have a philodendron in the collection, and I'm shining the spotlight on it because it's just a green leaf one where I don't think anybody's talking about it. I don't know, but here you go, you guys. This right here is my, and I wrote the name in this plant so that I could remember the name, but it's Saint-Martin's philodendron. And if you watch my houseplant tour, you saw that this was in my dining room. And you guys, like, for those of you who really love the horsehead philodendron, I mean, this is one that I do believe you should get. Look at that leaf. I mean, that is really a horsehead. The shape of it, oh my goodness. And at one point in my home, you guys, I had it growing up real tall, but then the internodes were starting to be a little too wide and starting to not look as pleasing, so I chopped it all the way back. And ever since I did that, I chopped it back, and I also tried to propagate the cuts that I did make, but for some reason or another they were not successful. And sometimes that do happen with propagations, you guys. Every time you propagate a plant does not mean that it's going to be successful. I probably should have, and I didn't think of it. Well, actually, I think I did try. I should have did air layering. I don't know. I think I did try air layering with this plant, but it wasn't successful there, which I thought was odd. And then I just chopped it and put it in water because I thought my success rate for water, you couldn't go wrong. But it just took that thing forever. And then the leaves itself, over time, just kind of like, just took a dive. And that's okay. But at least I can say, when I chopped it, it did. Of course, when you do cut something, it does promote the plant to try to push out something. And it is providing me with this new shoot right here. This is, and it branched off. I made the chopping or the cutting right here, and usually when you do cut, you guys, it either will branch out again from where the nodes are, either at the nodes, or sometimes in my experiences it was like a little bit below the node. But nonetheless, it did spruce it up, and I noticed that the stem is feeling nice and thick. And thick stems, you guys, if you don't know, at least for me, is like an indicator that, okay, now it's really going to start pushing out bigger leaves. And so, let's see, it gave me this leaf right here, which was a medium-sized leaf. And then this one is a teeny tiny baby one, which probably will grow into something a little bit. I have a smaller, I don't know if you're actually can see it right here. This new growth point is like into my moss, which is pretty cool. And then it has this one, which, as you can see, you guys, this is about to be a nice sized leaf that's going to come out. But I think it's very beautiful, you guys. Look at that. I mean, sometimes it's not always about, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, it's not always about the variegation. It's really about that foliage and the joy that it brings. Look at that, you guys. Stunning, beautiful plant. Love it, love it, love it. It's a shame that people aren't talking more about it. And maybe they are. You know what, you guys? I say this is the name that it was given to me when I brought the plant St. Martinis. Now, if this by chance happens to be, if it's another name for it that is common, y'all guys let me know below, please. Now, my next one, I recently talked about this plant in a series that I did, but I felt like I wanted to add it back because I'm seeing people coming across it a little bit more in the big box stores. But, you know, once again, from what I can see, I don't think anybody's buying it, but I think that they should at least try their hand in it. I don't know, but this is the Mina, the Selby. No, not Selby. Oh, I'm not even talking about the Selby. The Emerald Gem. Guys, I mean, I have to shine the light on this plant because the foliage is undeniably gorgeous. And if you love those heart-shaped leaves, as we all do, in the most classical heart leaf philodendron, you can't go wrong by this emerald gem. It really is a gem, so to speak. But look at the heart-shaped leaves, but look at how that veination in the leaf, it kind of reminds me of the traditional regular peace lily as far as the veining in the leaves. Is very beautiful green. And it does give you, as you can see, it's sprouting out beautifully. One thing I can say about this plant, it is a thirsty plant, which means you have to maintain the watering for this plant to thrive. And I don't know, this was actually the centerpiece when I first brought this plant, you guys. It was the centerpiece at my table in my dining room, and it was doing good, but then I noticed that it was starting to decline, and I love the plant so much I got scared, you guys. I just brought the plant in here, and ever since I brought it in here, it's been doing nothing but thriving. It's very communicative when it lets you know it needs a drink, because as all plants tend to do when they're thirsty, at least the majority of them, is they will do a subtle drop or droop down. You give it some water and it perks right back up. But like I said, people be passing over this plant, and I don't understand why. And traditionally, I mean, really for me, I have the Selby one too, but honestly, this plant right here is very well more easier care than the Selby one to me. And I mean, I would recommend this plant to a plant parent that has a little bit of experience. Because of the watering schedule that you need to maintain, I wouldn't recommend it for a new plant parent. But as you become a little bit more acclimated to how you water your plants and you understand the water to light ratio of your plant, then this would definitely be a way to go. It's very beautiful. Look at the leaves, you guys. I think it's very subtly beautiful. I love it to death. Let me put this down. This pot is kind of heavy. Now my next plant, I'm showing you which one is this this is the green version. Now I was at one point in time just shoving the coral one in y'all face for obvious reasons, because of the blooms, how big it's grown for me, and it's just been giving non-stop. This one is the green variety of it, and this is the Pyalea grandifolia. Miracle, I'm tongue-tied. Why? Let me rewind, take a step back. Okay, now this plant along with the coral one, I brought these plants at the same time and gave it the exact same care. But for some reason the coral one, which is the darker leaf one, took off, and probably so because the leaves were much wider than this one. This plant has grown, but not as significantly as the coral one, but I love it nonetheless. A lot of people are not talking about this plant, but it's very beautiful. You have to maintain, you do have to stay on top of your watering with this plant, you guys, because if not, if you see on the back here, like this is an example, the leaves will just, I don't even know if you can see it right now. You see that? The leaves will just crisp up on you. So I usually water this plant when the top soil is dry. And I had this sitting in, I did initially have it sitting in here. And what happened was, I know that because the leaves are not that thick, it doesn't need that intensity of light. So I actually had it sitting on like the lower level of my shelving that I do have in here, but it was starting to get a little bit too high. So I took a chance. I said, okay, I'm going to take a chance. I took it out of here and I set it in, this is the centerpiece of my dining room table. And I said, I'm just going to keep a watchful eye on it. If it starts declining in any way, I'll just bring it right back in here. And luckily, it adapted to that environment in my dining room very well. It's getting some subtle light from the window in my dining room, which is not any bright light, and it's also getting a lot of the artificial lighting. And what I've learned is as long as I maintain the moisture of this plant, you can't go wrong. But you guys, look at it. It's such a beautiful plant. I love it. The foliage is beautiful. When I look at this, you know, certain plants that I do look at, especially when it has the small dainty leaves, I just think of something magical, like a enchanted forest vibe. And sometimes those are my two styles that I notice that I'm leaning towards, that jungly vibe and then that enchanted forest vibe where everything is all right and peaceful with the world, you know. You know, sometimes you got to escape mentally what's going on around you and just create a world of your own. And I just think when I look at plants like this, it gives me the opportunity to do just that. And I can't believe people aren't talking about this plant, but it's a beautiful plant. And if y'all are interested in getting this plant, Steve's Leaves. I got this from Steve's Leaves. They really do have some nice plants. I'm not lying, you guys. Like, really, they really do. You should check them out. But, yeah, this is nice. Now, let's see. I showed y'all 3. And now we have 3 more. We're at the halfway mark. Okay, so this one right here, you guys, you will see this plant commonly in your big box stores. At least I can say, especially in the growing season is when I start seeing them pop up a little more. Beautiful plants, but I don't think people are buying them a lot, or if people are not talking about them, I don't know why. They're very beautiful. And this is a peperomia. This is the Peperomia Guinea. Is it Guinea or Ginny? How you pronounce that with the G-I? Guinea, Ginny. I don't know. But you guys get the gist. Guys, look at this plant. It's very beautiful. I love the different colors. You have that beautiful green, then not to mention the cream with the edge of pink. Now you guys, seriously, if y'all are out there to get those $5 million, billion, gazillion dollar worth of the plants that's variegated, you really can't go wrong with this. That was under 10 bucks when I brought this. And it's providing you with that same beauty that we are looking or starting after for those most rare plants. This thing is gorgeous. Now it is grown wide, and I have it sitting in my kitchen right on the window ledge. I really haven't had any problems with it. I let this plant completely dry out before I give it water, and I know when it's time to actually water it outside of me sticking my finger in the soil, but also I feel the leaves, you guys. Feeling your leaves sometimes is a must. You know, how pliable is it? You know, quick tip, which doesn't really have anything to do with this series, but quick tip. You want to get in the habit, you guys, especially you new plant parents out there, if you have not done so, get in the habit of feeling your leaves. Feel your leaves right before it's time to water, so that you know what it feels like when your plant is thirsty. And also after you do water it, in a few hours you see your plant perk up, feel it then after that, so you can have something to compare it to. This will help you remember, or another extra step in your plant care to say, okay, is it really okay to water this plant? And of course, if you have a moisture meter, you can't go wrong there. But if you don't, outside of sticking your finger in the soil, you want to pay attention to the leaves. That's a must. But anyway, back to this plant, you guys. Look at that subtleness of the pink. Look at that color. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I've had this plant not a year yet. It hasn't been a year, I know that. But I want to say at least maybe over 6 months. Can't really remember. But it's still in, I never changed the soil yet either. So, let me see if I can, yeah. I never changed the soil. It's in its original nursery pot. And I mean, it is just loving life right now. And I can't believe people aren't talking about it, especially if you're after that variegation. It's very beautiful. Easy care for me. I haven't really had any problems with it, but this is a plant. This is a must plant. I would definitely recommend this plant right here for a new plant parent because you don't have to maintain the watering. Like because of the this particular peperomia, the stems are thick. So, thick stems is an indicator to me that they hold some form of water. So you can really neglect this plant a little bit. It loves bright light. If you want to maintain that color that you see right here in this plant, you want to make sure that it is maintaining its is getting enough light. That's the key as well. Now, I have my last two. This plant, I believe, I don't know if it's really talked about that much. But I think people are looking at it. I don't know. I just really don't hear much being talked about this particular plant. Y'all let me know if y'all hear anybody talking about it. But this is a goldfish plant. And goldfish plants, if I'm not mistaken, must have different species of a goldfish plant. This one I had to get, you guys. Look at that. This one is called the Shady Lady Marlene. Marlene, okay, look, I don't even name my plants. I don't give my plants names, but now that, I'm just gonna, all right, Marlene, let's go, but look at this, you guys. She is gorgeous, and since it's a Marlene, we know it's a girl this time, but she is, let me put this back. God dang it. I love keeping my names in my soul because time goes by, you start growing your collection, you will forget the name. But guys, look at this. Look at the foliage on that. It's beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it has, bam. This is the reason why I got the plant. Like I said, if you've been watching me for some time, you already know that I am a sucker for what now? Those red backs. So it has beautiful subtle red backs to it. It kind of reminds me of a smaller version of the champagne jam, which is another beautiful plant, by the way. But anyway, look at that. And the bloom, this is the first bloom that I've gotten so far. Look at that. Cute little orange bloom. It's supposed to be almost shaped. It does kind of like shaped like a little fish. Hence why they call it goldfish plant. But it's beautiful. I see people coming across it every so often in the big box stores, but I'm not seeing anybody talking about it or anything like that. But I mean, it is gorgeous. Very beautiful plant. Very beautiful. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the goldfish plant. Now my last plant is just undeniably gorgeous in color, variegation, structure, and form, as well as from my experience since I brought this plant easy care. People are not talking about it. I don't know why. I don't know if this is a common plant or a rare plant, considered a rare plant. I really don't know. I had my eye on this plant when I first was introduced to it, and I saw it on TV, of course, because I never seen it really up close. And when I actually came across it on one of the online shops that I tend to buy plants from, magically it was there. And I was so surprised because, like I said, I didn't really see anybody selling it. So y'all let me know. I don't know if is it common or is it rare. Price wise, I'm saying it has to be common because it didn't cost much at all. But I mean, who knows, So, but nonetheless, introduction will be this Devil's Backbone, the variegated one, you guys. And it's the scientific name. Let me see if I can. It's called the Pelanthus tithymalioides. I'm definitely going to put the name of this plant on the screen for you guys, and y'all can do the best you can with pronouncing this. But it is the variegata devil's backbone. And I really love the plant because it does do, as it matures, it will do a rick-rack type of design or shape. Now, if you look at the stems here, you can see where it's kind of like, this stem as an example, it's kind of like zigzagging a little bit in the pattern. But you guys, it is so beautiful with the variegation, that subtle like a lighter green and the white edging, and then the stem itself is darker than the leaves. It is making it a very beautiful plant, you guys, and I am in absolute awe. I think I've seen maybe one person talk about this plant, but it wasn't even the variegated version. It was the regular all green variety. So I didn't even know that they had a variegated version of this plant until when I actually saw it at the place where I brought it from. So when I saw it, you guys, like I said, when I saw it, it was the picture of it showed a smaller specimen. For a very, very good price. I can't remember the exact price, but I know for sure it definitely was under $20, you guys. And when I got it, I could not believe how big and how full. I mean, this has so many growth points, so many stalks in here. If I wanted to separate it, I could, but I would not dare separate this plant. This plant is also being well taken care of, sitting in my kitchen on my window ledge. And I'm just thinking that this plant loves bright and direct light. And of course, you know, when you have your variegated version plants, you have to give it a little bit more light than you would if you had your all green varieties. And it lets me know when it's time to be watered, because the leaves will feel, what I've noticed, they do a droop, but it's very subtle. You wouldn't really catch it if you didn't pay attention to the plant, but I've noticed that it will droop slightly. But also one of the things I've noticed is the leaves will feel a little bit thinner. And then after checking the leaf feel of it, then I also check the soil. I let this plant dry completely out before I give it a drink. And it is loving life right now, you guys. And I couldn't be any more happier or satisfied to have this plant in my collection. You guys, you got to try this plant out. Seriously, you really do. It's very beautiful, man. I mean, it is a gorgeous specimen. So the variegatus devil's backbone. Okay, don't know if y'all heard that. Maybe y'all did, maybe y'all didn't, I don't know. But anyway, that was my phone. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up. You guys, share below. Talk with me about if y'all have any of the plants that I made a mention in my collection. Let me know if you have these plants. Any of them. Or if you've seen any of these and you're interested in getting any of these plants, please let me know. I'm interested to find out if my theory is true. Are people talking about these plants? Are people not talking about these plants? Is this your first time seeing some of these plants? You know, just comment below. I'm just curious to know what the majority rule is. But anyway, that wraps it up, you guys. And keep in mind, if you love foliage as much as I do and you love listening to planting things, definitely subscribe to this channel. Give me big thumbs up. Let's push them up, push them up, push them up, push them up. If you are one of those rare people that want to push it down, it's okay. I forgive you anyway. Enjoy your day wherever you are in the world, guys. And until next time, much love. Bye.